Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Battle video. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at the revamped Greatest Warrior missions and how you can complete them and basically complete all the steps. Now, the Greatest Warrior missions are a previous tutorial that has been completely revamped to help take you to the end of Dokkan. You have beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert difficulties. This guide will focus primarily on every step of the beginner and intermediate, and then will give you breakdowns and rundowns on how to complete the majority of the advanced and expert levels, as some of it will require you to summon, generate different teams, etc. But we will complete everything you can pretty much do. For returning players or veteran players, you will still have to complete these missions if you want to get the new Saiyan Saga Z Fighters team, as well as also if you want to go and EZA your physical Greatest Warrior Goku. For returning players, or new players, obviously you will get access to these missions directly after you have completed the opening tutorial to the game. When you start the game, you will get a tutorial. That tutorial will be with Trunks. Once completed, will give you access to the missions, the home screen, and quest mode. From there, we will go through all of the missions you have to complete, so that you are able to have everything done. A word to the wise, the panels can be accessed from this button on the left hand screen. There are 9 panels in total for the beginner difficulty, which you can tell from the top end. And on top of everything else, if you do need backup copies, there are a certain event you can do should you make a mistake along the line, and we'll talk about that a little bit just now. In the beginning, however, the event is pretty simple. By completing the tutorial, you will get copies of all of the Z Fighter units, as well as access to your first copy of the Z Fighters Goku. That will be the physical Goku. Your next step will be very simply to undergo training on Goku. This will give you additional copies of Goku. So you go to the growth menu, click training, find Goku, and then all you have to do is click him and train him. I don't have this copy of Goku, as you are given one at the end of the tutorial. If you are missing any copies of any of the units, or you accidentally get rid of any copies of these units, you can get additional copies of them from the Saiyan Attacks event. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lock all of these units, which I suggest you do, as you will need to reference them quite a bit. You don't want to accidentally delete them. So lock the initial copy of each of the units that you get, so that you don't make any mistakes. This is a very easy step to do. Then you are going to train each unit, Goku included. You will have to train Goku first, as you will need to obviously get the rewards from his panel. Now, as you can see here, each unit needs to be Z awakened. To Z awaken a unit is pretty straightforward. But should you screw anything up, you may need to get additional copies. To do so, you go to DB Story, go down to the Dragon Ball Z section, which you can do. Sorry, not the Dragon Ball section, the Dragon Ball Z section. Go to the Dragon Ball Z section, go to the Saiyan Attacks event, or the Saiyan Warrior Race event, and here you can find at stage 5 an additional copy of Goku. You can also find additional copies of all these units and the awakening medals needed to get them. You have to complete this event anyway, so you can do it now, or alternatively later on. It's quite fine. It's just really good to come here if you are missing any copies of the units, as you'll be able to get them from here. Because I'm missing Goku, I'll have to come here and get a copy of Goku, so that obviously I can train him and then of course have my copy. However, if you are a new player, you'll have your copy from the tutorial and you can go and train him. You will then go and train all the other units as well. Now, in terms of these units, you can stick them all in a team, and under Goku, they will all be really ready to go. So I highly suggest you do this as well, as once you've trained them, you will need to use them to go farm other units. But for now, let us go and train Goku and all our other copies of units and Z awaken them. To do this, it's very straightforward. You just simply go to the growth menu, click training, click the unit, for example Chiaotzu. You can click auto under the training items, and you can choose the auto training location. You will have enough from the tutorial mission to train him, and you will have enough medals to Z awaken him. You don't need to train them additionally for now. You can just leave them at level 80, as that will complete the mission. You need to do this for Chiaotzu, Tien, Gohan and Piccolo, Yamcha, and of course Goku. You can see I've done that, and obviously now skipped ahead a little bit. Once you've done this, you will get additional copies of all of the units which you will need for step 2. In step 2, they want you to raise the super attack levels of the units. If you're a veteran player, you will have this done with your Goku. However, if you are obviously a new player, you will have to feed Goku's copies into him first. For every single one of these units, all you have to do to complete this section is go to the unit, click training again, click the training partner, and click the 9 copies of the additional units that you got from the missions. As you can see with Tien, you can do the same here. You'll see at the same time I am introducing the training items. This is because this will discount my training items a little bit, as the units count for a little bit of EXP. But that's really about it. So it's just to make sure that I am training at the same time. Again, as I mentioned before, if you are someone that is looking obviously with Goku, then you are going to have to go to the event. At the same time, the game also asks you to complete the Study Hard, Play Hard mission, and you need to complete it once. You can find this under the growth section. Highly suggest that you take this team, obviously, of units that you have, meaning Goku, Tien, Chiaotzu, Yamcha, Krillin, and of course Gohan and Piccolo. This event is very easy. You don't have to worry at all about the difficulty of this event. You'll be able to do it with the units at SA10. You can even probably do it with them at SA1. It doesn't really matter. The friend lead will eventually defeat them anyway, so it's really quite straightforward. Once you've raised all the units super attacks to SA level 10 and you've completed the intensive growth mission, you are then ready to move on to the next step, and from there you're pretty much ready to go. So you can see here we've completed it. We get the panel mission done, we close, we open up the Gohan panel. Then obviously now we've completed panel 2. Very straightforward. This is going to give us now hidden potential orbs. This is crucial for stage 3. So stage 3 is actually very simple. Stage 3 simply asks us to expend those hidden potential orbs on the units. This is very easy. For Goku, what you need to do is you will have to get Goku to 55% first. Goku is at 100% in the hidden potential system, or at 0% in the hidden potential system. To do this and to unlock powers and units, you need to go to Hidden Potential under the Team section. Select the unit. You'll see, for example, Goku. You go to Goku and you will need to click Activate All. This will let you activate his Hidden Potential up to 55%. Upon doing this, you can go back and accept the mission, and this will give you the copies you need to open up all of their Hidden Potential powers. So that's what you saw me do in the beginning. With this, you can go back and now unlock the hidden potential powers of every single unit. You can do this for Goku, but you can also take this time to do so for the other units. You need to unlock their hidden potentials anyway. For now, you can just do Goku's to complete his mission, but like I said, you're going to have to do this for every single unit. Once you've done this, the next steps are pretty easy. So you can see here, we've done that. They simply ask us now to do this for every single other unit that we have. So Gohan and Piccolo, Tien, Chiaotzu, and obviously Krillin. We go to hidden potential, we select each of these units and we'll do everything at the same time. So we'll unlock all of Chiaotzu's hidden potential parts by simply clicking his additional copies that we got. This is why you cannot Dokkan Awaken them. You always have to awaken a unit to Z, then you can open up the hidden potential system. Once we've done all of Chiaotzu's hidden potential system, we will click Activate All. And this will fully automate or fully activate his hidden potential system. But for now, you don't need to worry about this. You can do it if you want to, but you don't have to. For now, they simply want you to unlock all 4, so you will complete it. The next step, which is where we're going, is to activate 97% of the hidden potential system. Here you can see they have that goal for every single unit. This will unlock the Dokkan Awakening medals. This is very simple. You do exactly what we did before. You go to the team training menu, click hidden potential. Then once you are at hidden potential, you click the unit you want to and simply press activate all. This will immediately unlock 97%. You can do the final 3% if you want, but this will require you to select nodes. Selecting each node will give you an option on what to choose between critical hit, additional, and evasion. You do not have to get the unit to 100% at any point for any of the missions. However, I highly suggest you do, as this will increase the power of your units. For me, I'll show you guys the builds that I chose for these units so that you can get a good idea of exactly what to do with them. I think that will be nice for you guys, and I'll show you that at the next section. But that panel was very easy to do and took us mere moments. So now the next step is quite simple. Now they want us to Dokkan Awaken all of the units. As you can see, my Goku is already Dokkan Awakened. This is not anything too crazy. You've been given all the medals already, so all you have to do now is simply train the units to level 100, which I did when I was raising their super attack level, and I hope you did as well. And then you will be able to Dokkan Awaken them. If you are a returning player, you'll be Dokkan Awakening your second copy of Goku. We'll talk about the second copy of Goku a little bit later on, because it is somewhat important. But for now, the most important steps are to Dokkan Awaken all of these units. So you should make sure that you do these pretty much right now. So Dokkan Awaken Chiaotzu, Tien, Yamcha, Gohan and Piccolo, and obviously the Krillin. Once you have Dokkan Awakened all of them, please remember to train all of them to level 120. You will have enough training items. You want to train them to level 120, and then we are tasked with 3 more missions that are very important. So first, let's Dokkan Awaken that team. As you can see, we've Dokkan Awakened the team. You will also see now the builds I have for every single one of those units. So you will see now that I am obviously, have them fully Dokkan Awakened. I have their hidden potentials fully maxed out, and of course, we also have their super attacks maxed out. These are the builds I'm going for each of the units. You can see the nodes that I have selected for each one, and you can copy them if you wish. This is just based on my feel around the unit and looking at their passive. I'll do reviews on each and every single unit so you can eventually see why I did so. At this point, you'll collect all of these rewards and be given the EZA medals for Goku. So you don't have to get Goku's medals from anywhere else. You can simply go and collect his EZA medals. Now, before you EZA Goku, I have to tell you a secret to saving yourself some Kais. And this is going to be important, as saving on Kais is very helpful for later on in the game. For Goku, you do not have to use the 15 Kais they give you. If you EZA Goku, the mission that you receive for EZAing him will give you 15 Kais to max out his super attack level. You do not have to do this. You can instead farm a second copy of Goku from the Saiyan Warrior Race mission or a story event and use that copy of Goku. So awaken him all the way to an LR and feed him into your copy of Goku. If you feed a second 10 out of 20 SA Goku into your Goku once he is EZA'd, or even a 15 out of 20 Goku into your Goku once he's EZA'd, then what will end up happening is your Goku will be at 25 SA out of 25. So it's very important, basically, that you make a second copy of Goku at 15 SA and feed that into your EZA'd copy of Goku. You can see me doing something similar, but with obviously just recovering the 5 SA because my Goku was maxed. The other Goku does not have to have his potential system open or anything like that. This will save those 15 Kais. Now you don't have to do this, it is just advice to you as a new player that you should suggest, or that I suggest that you do so. It's just a little bit of a tip because these 15 Kais are very valuable for you later on. Now the game tasks us with completing a stage with the team of Goku and the Saiyan Saga units, as well as a Dokkan event. This team is very strong, especially once Goku is EZA'd. You can complete pretty much any Dokkan event in the game on super difficulty. It's a very strong team. It's very much capable of doing so. If you are scared, I suggest you just do it on Z hard, or if you're just looking to complete it quickly and save on stamina. You can also complete some of the older teamed missions as well. It's important to understand you can also use this time to complete any support memory or support item related missions that you might see later on. But for now, we simply have to complete the stage. If you have obviously farmed a copy of Goku, you will have already completed the mission, complete a stage. But if you are not farming Goku and you are just looking to complete the event, then doing a Dokkan event will clear out the stage mission as well. So you don't have to double up, you can just do that one. Once you've done that, we are done with that panel. And we are nearing now the end of the beginner missions. We're actually getting really close here. So that is panel 7 done of the beginner missions. Very cool and straightforward. Now we move on to the second to last panel, and this concerns growth events. Now this panel is not hard, but does require you to be very careful of which events you are doing. It requires you to complete 6 growth events. It also requires you to send a friend request. It requires you to trade bubble points, and it requires you to obviously sell a unit and trade some Zenny. Now you'll get bubble points. You can get them by trading units, but you also get them by clearing the Hercule Big Bucks event, and you get Zenny and friend points by completing some of the other mission panels as well. So you don't have to get units by selling them or trading them in or anything, but I'm going to show you how you traditionally can get this as well, just so you know. Growth events are found under the Growth tab, and you can complete pretty much any of them. I suggest you do the 2 of the Bulma's prep events and the Hercules event, but you can also do the Hidden Potential Orb events, as this is pretty necessary as well. Don't do the Technique event just yet. It'll become available later on and more useful later on for another panel. So for now, just do the Bulma event, the Pan event, and the Hercule event, combined with the Intensive Growth Mission event. This will all net out pretty well. They do want you to use a support memory. However, you have to be a little bit careful about which one you pick. Rather use a drop rate support memory that you can use within a DB story event. So DB story events have what's called a team bonus. They drop rewards from missions. Rather use a oolong here, which is a standard support memory that you can use, and that'll be better for you. For selling, obviously you can sell a Hercule statue that they'll give you, but you can also sell any bonus characters that you get from anything. The character you get from the friend summon that you'll do is more than likely a character you'll be able to sell. So just complete the friend summon mission first, or sell the character first, and you'll be able to get the friend points, and you can take it from there. Next, we need to look at bubble points. Now, bubble points can be obtained by exchanging in a character. When you exchange in a character, you can trade that character in for bubble points by pressing the plus menu at the top of the bubble shop, and then selecting a character. You don't have to do this as you already have bubble points from the mission, but this is traditionally how you get them. So if you somehow screw up or you want to do it first, you can do that and obviously exchange a character. Free-to-play characters count, but at a discounted rate. So you can go and farm additional copies of Goku and do this quite easily. Then all you have to do is simply trade points for an item. You can do this under the trade points section. I highly suggest you pick up just the sport item, the oolong sport item, or any orb changing item like that. The Poar or oolong will be the most beneficial. And then the Zenny, you can do the same with training locations or with sensu beans. These will come in handy later on anyway. For the rest of the events, all you simply have to do is pretty much go and complete any of the events. So you don't have, or the growth events. So at this point, it's not really anything too crazy that you have to focus on. As you'll be just doing the growth events, you'll eventually clear enough that you'll be able to clear the panel. There are a couple of things though that you may want to know. So firstly, for sending a friend request, when you're entering a stage, you have a chance to select a friend. Make sure that you scroll down a bit on the list, as the top list of friends are all NPC ones. So scroll down a little bit, choose basically one of the lower ones, and then go and complete the stage. Upon completing the stage, you will get a request that will pop up that will ask you whether you wish to add a friend request to add this person to your list. Sometimes this will fail because they will have a full character list, so just try again and select a different person this time. Once you have done all of that, then you are pretty much ready to go. Another thing that is like a little bit of a suggestion is obviously talking a little bit about using these support memories and support items and things like that. You have to complete a stage to do this. So you can select any stage. Again, I suggest coming to this Saiyan Attacks event because you have to complete this whole event later on. So just doing these stages is very important. Once you've done so, you can then obviously proceed onwards. Performing a friend summon is also very, very easy. All you have to do is go and click summon, which you'll find in the middle of your screen. Go to the friends section on the far right, and for now you can just do a single summon. You will have enough points to do a multi-summon, so you can do this, but you don't need to worry about anything else from here. The character you get from here can also be sold for Zenny or traded in if they are an SSR. You can do so, but just don't do that. You don't need to do that. So for now, do a single summon, clear the mission, and then call it a day. Once you've done that, you will have cleared this panel, And now you are pretty much ready to go onto the final section of the beginner missions, which is really cool. So really good stuff. Once you're onto the final section, it's actually very easy. All it simply asks you to do is complete the full Saiyan threat event, which is what I mentioned earlier. Then it requires you to finish up to stage 3 of the Planet Namek events, and then it requires you to summon using the Dragon Balls. To complete the 2 story related events, you go to Dragon Ball Story. You will then go to the Dragon Ball Z section. In the Dragon Ball Z section, the events to focus on are the Saiyan Threat event. You need to clear each stage. This is very easy with your team, and I highly suggest you did this earlier for the second copy of Goku, as I mentioned. But you'll go and you'll do this event, do all the stages, get it done, get it clear. You then have to do up to stage 3 of the Fierce Battle of Planet Namek event. This is the event that can be found straight up above it. You only have to do up to stage 3, so it's very simple. Again, very easy with your team. You don't have to do anything more. It's very straightforward. Then, the only other thing you have to do is summon for the Dragon Balls. So then, obviously, the Dragon Balls are probably the one that is, I guess, the most difficult to do here. Summoning for the Dragon Balls is actually a relatively straightforward concept. So all of them are accessed through the Dokkan Story Quest mode. You get all of them in Area 1, and all you simply have to do is clear the stages and find the Dragon Balls in the stage of the map. So it's not just clearing that stage, you have to find them in the map. You'll see them, they're on the map. To help you, go to Team, go to Shenron, and click each Dragon Ball. It literally will tell you the location, and if you have the stage unlocked, you can go to the stage. It will also tell you the difficulty. Once in there, you simply have to use the tiles to land on the tiles that have the Dragon Balls. Once you do so, you will have the ability to get all of them, go back to the Shenron section, and you can use those Dragon Balls to summon Shenron, and job done. So that is all of the missions complete. Thanks very much. Beginner completed. Now we can move on to intermediate. Now intermediate is a bit of a step up. It requires you to clear any story event, clear any Super Strike event, clear any Dokkan event, and also requires you to clear some Extreme Z battles as well. Although not necessarily super difficult for any of these missions, you do have to do them a couple times, which can be a little bit frustrating. However, for the most part, these are very simple, and they give you a whole bunch of really great skill orbs for the team you already have. Now, for none of these missions do you have to at any point use anything other than the team you used or generated from the beginner missions. Your lead will still be Goku, your friends will all still be the same, and you should be fine. Now for story events, you simply complete any 3 events you find under the story section of events. You'll see a little green tag called story, and this is the stage you should do. I highly suggest you grab this Raditz if he is available, because he's a good AoE unit that you can use, but you can do any of them. The same can be said for Super Strike, which requires you to complete any of the missions that have a strike and a red label on them as well. These are called Super Strike missions. Again, you have to complete the event 3 times, so you don't have to complete the whole event, just the first 3 stages or the first stage 3 times. It's very simple. The next one is Prime Battle. Prime battles are under the challenge section. You will see Prime next to them in red and black. Prime battles are how you can get very good free-to-play LRs. If you see the Transcended Warrior, I highly suggest you take it on. It's currently up permanently, but Prime battles rotate daily based on the typing of the units. So whenever you do start Dokkan, you might find that the Prime Battle event you can take on is different. Again, you only have to complete 3 times, so you can do the first stage 3 times or do all 3. Because your team was all obtained free to play, you can use your team to complete the event, again, very easily. For Dokkan events, you can complete any 3. You should know what they are by now. They have Dokkan in gold and black on them. You can pick pretty much anyone with the team that you have, but I suggest doing some of the older ones as they're lower in stamina and are very quick to complete. At this point, you might say, well, I need to complete a Portal of Memories mission. I also need to look at completing, of course, some Extreme Z battles, etc, etc. Well, don't panic. So for growth, this is very simple. All you have to do is a couple growth events to get things done. The first and the only real growth event that you need to look at is the Pans event. This is very simple and requires you to do one attempt. If you are a veteran player, you don't have to do this. For new players, you get a ton of EXP doing so. So don't worry, you'll refresh your stamina pretty much by doing the stage. For Extreme Z battles, these again are very difficult and they scale upwards. I highly suggest you start with either the Dokkan All-Stars event, which can start out very slow and you can use your team to clear the first 5 stages, or a super old one like this Frieza one, where you can again use your free-to-play team and clear the first 5 stages very easily. That would be my suggestion. Other than that, you can do whatever other ones you want up to stage 5. They have no stamina cost, so just pick and choose whichever one you want. Your team should be able to clear pretty much any of them, except for maybe the newer ones, up to stage 5. So look further down the list and you'll be good to go. After that, you're pretty much done with the intermediate panel. There's only really 1 or 2 very small things that you need to do at that point, so you shouldn't really have any major difficulties. A lot of this with your team is very easy and simply just requires you to play through it. There's not anything here that is, outwardly speaking, very difficult. So as a player, you shouldn't really have any major problems when it comes to this content. In terms of the Dokkan Punch event, this event is going to be something you're not going to score high in with your team. This event requires very specific nuking team builds, which I will leave a link at in the top right hand corner. But for now, just complete it 3 times with your team. You can attempt each stage once, so 1, 2, 3 for stage 1, 2, and 3, and you should be good to go. Again, you shouldn't have any real problems with this. A lot of this, you just simply click the panel mission, click attempt, go with your team, and you'll be able to have a really good time. For Portal of Memories, you'll get some keys from the other panel missions. I highly suggest you do this event if it is under the Portal of Memories, the Fighters Rejuvenated. This gives you a really cool copy of Goku. It's actually very useful before he EZAs, so he's not a bad unit to pick up, as he could be pretty useful to you, and you could end up having a pretty good time overall. That's just my bit of advice. Now, of course, once you complete all of that, you will be done with the intermediate missions, and this leaves you in a pretty good space. You'll accept all and get a whole bunch of Portal Memory keys, as well as also getting a ton of Equip Orbs. Now, these Equip Orbs are the next step and will require you to simply equip the skill orbs to the team that you currently have. Again, these orbs are great, and for all of these units, these Equip Orbs are going to be entirely up to you. You can augment further what you see in my builds, or you can go for whichever ones you want. Me, I highly suggest the defensive equips on the units, but you're welcome to go attacks. For the silvers and the golds, I just highly suggest going with whatever my main one is. So for example, on Chiaotzu, go for evasion on the silver, or you can go for additional if you wish. And for the gold, I highly suggest you just pick the crit and additional one. It's just the easiest, or you can just pick whatever you feel is necessary. That's my real only big suggestions. You need to add the orbs to everyone. They each have their own category exclusive orbs, or character exclusive orbs I should say. These are obtained from those panel missions. For newer players, it'll be easier to find these. For more veteran players, you're going to have to just scroll up and down your list a little bit. Unfortunately, it's one of those systems that they need to just improve a little bit. From that then onwards, obviously, that's not the only mission that we have to have done. So your next that you'll need to do is the Master It Special Technique of Hope. This is a very simple event that's found under Growth and can be done very easy. Well, sorry, the God Level and Training mission, I should say. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. Can be done under the Growth section. You will need to complete it a number of times to get a couple tickets, but you only have to summon once to be able to complete the mission. So the panel missions require you to do it 3 times. You can do so, collect the tickets from the missions for the event, and then go and exchange them. So it's actually very simple. You'll see here that obviously I've just finished that event, finishing up the panel, and then my only job left is to go exchange. Now you only have to exchange once. I suggest you only exchange once, and the reason for this is because there's no need to spend a lot on any of these orbs, as especially as a new player, you don't have any summonable new units at this point in time. There's no point in doing so. So rather just wait, claim the panel missions, just summon that once cheaply using 3 tickets, and keep your resources. Now we have basically a whole bunch of final little missions to do. These are actually honestly very, very simple. So, not too much focal point that needs to be done here. You can see using a support item and clearing a stage. You can see trading in green incredible gems. You can see the Master It Spectacular Technique event, etc. Now, the Master It Spectacular Technique event can be found in the Growth. It was the event I referenced earlier, and it will give you skill orbs to upgrade your characters. At the same time as well, if you go to, you'll get blue orbs, gems then. You'll also get green gems from the previous panel missions as well. So you don't have to worry about anything too much. You can just go to the shop and exchange those. For now though, under the Growth, you can do the Special Technique event, and you'll be pretty good to go. This also requires you to start obtaining the Team Bardock and the Team Ginyu units. These will be very important later on for the more advanced missions, but for now you can just complete whichever stage of those you wish. Next we have the Special Technique of Hope, and here you can just complete the stage once. You do get a whole bunch of link skill orbs for it, so that's pretty cool. One of the missions also requires you to link level your characters 100 times. This will be fairly easy and should be predominantly done due to the amount of times you've used your team, but there are ways to improve it. But for now, basically, one of the things we're going to focus on is the support memory, the support item mission. Support item mission, the easiest way to do it is to use an orb changing unit like Oolong or Puar, which is why I suggested you getting them from the barber shop earlier, as they help you out, because they just change an orb and then you beat the stage and then you're basically done. So it's actually very, very straightforward and easy, and honestly doesn't require you to do too much. Finally, we're talking about link leveling and things like that. A lot of it comes from doing your quest mode stages. Now, green gems only become available to you much later on in the quest mode at about 13. You should get some from the missions, so you don't have to necessarily farm any green gems specifically from those stages, but doing quest mode will help you with link leveling your units. On top of that as well, the Growth events help you with link leveling, especially the Turtle School event, so you can use that as well. Your 100 links sounds like a lot, but it's really only getting your units to like link 4 each, and that should naturally occur quite quickly. If you want to, you can use the link skill orbs you get from the special skill up event. However, I don't suggest using it on free-to-play characters. It's just not worth it. Rather just get it naturally working your way through quest mode. Once you do have some green gems, just go and exchange them literally for the cheapest item you can find. For me, that was Awakening medals. Took only 5 green gems, which is really, really cool. And then after that, you should be pretty much good to go. So that will be the intermediate missions done. And yeah, pretty simple. So once you've done that, now the game opens up to you, and you're pretty much now tasked with more endgame specific things. So both the advanced and the expert missions are not actually missions and mission panels that are very easy to do. So let's start with the advanced. So the first round of advanced missions, so fighting Legend Goku, fighting Legend Vegeta, fighting SBR, etc. These can be done quite easily with your still Saiyan Saga team. So pretty much all of these events, yes, even the GT Goku, and yes, even the fighting Legend Vegeta event can be done with your team. So that Saiyan Saga free-to-play team that you got is still very viable for the first panel of the advanced missions. This simply requires you a lot of the time to do events you should have done. With the Dokkan Boss Rush, this is incredibly easy because you just do the first 3 Dokkan Boss Rushes. These are just Dokkan events strung together, and it's actually incredibly easy with your team. You won't have any issues with Dokkan Boss Rush 1, 2, and 3. You'll be very straightforward. In terms of SBR, your team can't do a lot of them because they are category specific, but your team can definitely do the Super Class 1, and will be able to do so with maybe some items, but generally speaking will be quite fine. I find it should be quite fine. So you shouldn't have a real problem there. And at the same time as well, you can use them to clear the Fighting Legend Goku event. For all of the hard events, so Fighting Legend Goku, Super Battle Road, the Fighting Legend Goku GT, the Fighting Legend Vegeta, a couple tips and tricks for players. Firstly, you should make sure that your friend lead is the Strength, Gohan, and Piccolo. They're going to help you out the most and will be the most valuable, but you can also use a physical LR, Goku, and Piccolo. The items you're going to want to use in these events also will be the Whis, Senzu Beans if you have them, King Yema, Whis, Icarus, ghost ushers, and that's pretty much it. For the Gods of Destruction event, this is going to be quite hard. This isn't going to be easy. It will probably be the hardest stage you'll take on. I highly suggest you consider doing stage 2, Hellas. With the items, you should be able to take her out with the friend Gohan and Piccolo relatively easily. Next, obviously, we need to talk about pushing up through all of the other events. Now, once you've cleared kind of that panel of the advanced missions, then things become a little bit more scattered, I want to say. Like, it becomes a lot harder to complete these missions. So you'll complete these, but then from here, things become very, very different for you. So firstly, on this panel, they specifically reference completing the Ginyu Force and the Team Bardock growth missions, which is very, very important. They also want you to start Z Awakening and Extreme Awakening characters. So at this point now, the second panel of the advanced missions, I'm going to refer you to 2 guides I made on Team Bardock and on the Ginyu Force. These are going to give you the necessary information that you will need to complete these missions. In completing Team Bardock and in completing the Ginyu Force, you will complete the rest of these missions, so I don't really want to go over it too much. These missions are very easy technically, as they simply require you to max out those free-to-play teams, both of which you can find under the growth sections, and then both of whom's EZAs you can find under the challenge sections. Again, I'm not going to go into them in too much detail, as I'll provide you with the videos in the top right hand corner, which will be much better methods of assisting you overall with completing this event. But basically, under the growth missions, you can find 2 events. One is the Team Bardock event, one is the Captain Ginyu or Ginyu Force event. These are both simple events in theory, and completing both of them will net you fully free-to-play teams, as well as from the missions to LRs. So it's very, very cool. It's good to do. It will give you now 3 great free-to-play teams. They also can be used to complete a ton of content that you'll be tasked with, so it's highly suggested that you do so. It is definitely something that helps you out a lot. I highly suggest you go and complete those band of missions. I'll leave a link in the top right hand corner. Next, we have the Expert Panel. Expert Panel is a lot more challenging. Expert Panel is starting to task you with taking on red zones, and this is where things start to get a lot more difficult for you as a player. So with these missions, to cut a long story short, things become a little bit more difficult to do with your team. Your team will be very good, but at this point now, you will have to consider potentially other options. So it can be your Ginyu Force team, it can be your Team Bardock team, but generally speaking, you may have to consider something as these missions start to get a little bit more diverse. Of all the things here that I will say, the expert missions are not meant to be completed in a day. Veteran players, of course, will have them done, but I would say once you get past the intermediate missions, with your team, you're free to explore any avenue of Dokkan. And so what I suggest is basically you take things on as you see fit. Special stickers and stuff you'll find from these panel missions, and you can use them as you want to. It's not really a train smash. Use them how you see fit. The big thing is, at this point, Dokkan opens up a lot of its endgame content, and they're trying to guide you correctly through it. Once you've EZA'd the Ginyu Force and once you've EZA'd Team Bardock, you'll have a vast majority where you have all of the advanced missions done. And then you'll be left with simply the expert missions to complete. Now the expert missions, these are obviously a step above. A lot of the times they deal with extreme super battle road, they deal with red zones, etc. Now I'm going to preface it and let you know that a lot of these you don't have to complete 3 different stages. So for a lot of these, like for the red zone ones and that, do the first stage of a lot of these red zones with even your free-to-play Saiyan Saga team. Or for ESPR, you can do Super ESPR with your Saiyan Saga team. And with a bit of good item usage, you should be able to clear those stages. You will then have to clear them obviously 2 more times, but you should be more than fine. Again, following the same principles of using a Gohan and Piccolo as your friend lead. Once you've done that, you'll unlock the second panel of extreme missions, and these missions here basically require you to do a couple small things. So again, it's more red zones, this time the harder batch of red zones, the more modern ones. It also requires you to clear things like the Magnificent, Supreme Magnificent Battle, etc. It also requires you to clear the Heroine event, which is not currently available in Dokkan Battle Global. So you will need to wait. That will come out later this week, so don't panic too much. It'll be there. You don't need to worry. And it requires you to clear one stage of a Super Easy Air. Now, specifically, it references the Super Saiyan 3 Goku Super Easy Air. Now, you can take on this event with portal memory keys. It does come back later on. For players who have not done this event before, you have to get it to stage 30. This is going to be hard to do with your Saiyan Saga team. It is going to require you to summon. You're going to need units to take this on. That's why I say expert missions are not there to be completed straight away. If you need more guide to this event, I will leave a link in the top right hand corner, as it is something that is quite difficult. To unlock the super stage, you have to clear up to stage 30, then open up the super stage and then still beat it. It is very tough. You won't be able to do it with your Saiyan Saga team. You will have to summon for a lot of these things in the expert mission. But if you need more help with any of them, I have guides to literally every red zone, every blue zone, every single other event in the game. So you can gladly go through my channel, and that's it.